All right, so at the heart of the reading, I have the Eight of Cups in the reverse position, crossed by the Page of Wands, okay? The Page of Wands indicates, in general, news, communication, especially when it comes to projects and love communications. There is a situation here in which you're not, or I feel like you might be reverting back to some situation from the past, or you're trying to resolve some situation from the past because the past energy is sending in this communication to you. So a lot of you might be in dealing with a fire sign. Fire signs are Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. Okay, so a lot of you might have a fire sign in your midst who is a little bit assertive, who is very like vivacious and just fun loving. So this is a very light, airy energy. They're sending you communication. So a lot of you might be responding or might be wanting to, dabble in this situation with this fire sign. I do feel, however, a lot of you have entanglements with the past in which emotionally you have definitely moved on. But for some reason, there are still entanglements, lingering attachments, possibly like for those of you who are going through a divorce situation, the divorce itself hasn't finalized yet, or it has, and there's still assets that needed to be divvied up between the two of you. So as a result, you can't really make a clean break, even though emotionally you have already checked out and you have already severed ties with the past. Because in the past position, we have the devil in the reverse position, which indicates, kicking old habits, leaving the past behind, or disentangling yourself from unhealthy situation. So in the past position with the devil, it seems as if a lot of you have gotten out of toxic relationships. You're now forging ahead. You are dating again for a lot of you. You are getting a lot of communication from potential love interests. What's crowning you here is the Ace of Cups. Now, it's really interesting because for the past few weeks, when I did the weekly reading, a lot of Piscean people have commented that, why can't we get the Lovers and the Two of Cups and the Ace of Cups? Well, here you go. You have the Ace of Cups crowning your reading, which is wanting a new start for yourself. A new love interest is in the picture, and a lot of you are seeing potential prospects, or at least potential for stability, for long-term commitment with this new person. I'm going to see here that the new person is somebody who is like, you're dating outside of your norm. You're dating outside of your comfort level. Okay, so you're in a brand new ballpark, and the people that are coming in are very like the energy is very light, very airy, and it's fun. It's not a relationship that's toxic. It's not a relationship that's codependent, or even where there's a lot of emotional baggage. You're turning a new chapter in your life, or you're starting a new chapter, and you are approaching this situation with a little bit more balance. All right, in terms of what's in your environment that you're not aware of here, we have the High Priestess in the upright position, which is a very, very good card. It indicates to me the whole unveiling process, the whole getting to know one another, the whole, looking at things objectively rather than through rose-colored glasses, and assessing your relationship partner's true potential before you invest, okay? This is sort of like waiting for the other party to show their cards before you show yours, not out of like selfishness or anything like that, but it's sort of like you were burned in the past when it comes to rushing into situation, trusting somebody a little bit too much before they prove themselves to be worthy of your trust. Okay, trust is earned, it's not automatically given. So you're approaching relationships in general with a lot more of objectivity, with a lot more discernment. In terms of what's coming in for you very, very soon in the future, I do have the Two of Swords, which indicates to me a decision time. Okay, this is something that you're still trying to figure out, but I do feel that with the Ace of Cups, there is that balancing act is quickly coming to an end, and you're going to be making a decision sometime this week when it comes to love relationships. And I do sense you have all the information you need now to fully and accurately assess somebody's worth. A lot of you have a fire sign in your midst that you have recently, this could be somebody coming back in from the past, sending you messages. And this is somebody that you might potentially reconnect, rekindle with for this week, okay? So that decision is going to be, made sometime this week. In terms, well, for the next 2 weeks, because this is going to extend past 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of August. So excuse me about that. In terms of your advice, we do have the Nine of Swords in the reverse position. So those sleepless nights, those troublesome thoughts, those lingering attachments, or even like having a lot of concerns about people from your past, like even though emotionally you've already checked out of the relationship, you might be wondering what somebody is up to. You might be wondering if they're okay, if physically, emotionally, they're okay to, they're able to, pick up the pieces and move on with their lives. I feel like pretty much a lot of you have moved on and a lot of you have started a new phase in your life. And because of it, you're feeling quite happy. You're feeling like pretty ecstatic. You're probably approaching a new love situation with a lot of potential, okay? And because of it, you might be concerned about whoever it is that you've had entanglements with in the past, and you want to make sure that emotionally they're okay. I do feel this situation is going to be it. I feel that the person from your past has already moved on as well, so you don't have to worry as much. At the same time, life is looking up for a lot of you. There's a lot of communication, a lot of exchanges and messages in love, communication coming through, and in general, wishes are being fulfilled. So I do feel like external to you, the other person has also moved on. We have the Tower in the reverse position. So the separation was something that really did hit them from the left field. They didn't really anticipate it, but they're picking up the pieces and they are starting to move on as well. And I mentioned earlier there might be entanglements. There might be like, assets, children, things needed to be divvied up in order to sever ties completely. Okay. And this card is indicative of that because in your hopes and fears, we have the Three of Pentacles in the reverse position. So it's sort of like financial entanglements, especially, and financial resources, assets needed to be, I would say, like they needed to be liquidated. They needed to be somehow, there is this card usually associated with two people working together, not in a romantic way, but mainly in a business sense, with the advice of either a mentor, a lawyer, seeking outside counsel in order to divide up all assets equally. Okay, so this is divvying up assets, and so when you get it in the upright position, I do feel it's like joint assets being like incorporated. However, in the reverse position, I do feel it's like a dissolution where, everyone is taking their fair share and they're seeking counsel in order to divide up the pie evenly and everyone gets their fair share of whatever financial resources needed to be divided up, okay? So it's looking favorable here. So for the last 2 weeks of this month, I do feel that is going to be on the front burner. At the same time, you're going through a period where you feel quite good about yourself. So no matter like whatever legal issues is coming through, I do feel it is going to end up in your favor. I do feel here when we have the outcome position, I have the Hierophant in the reverse position as well as the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands traditionally indicates travel and it also indicates swift communication, okay? There's some lull, there's some stalled communication coming through, and as a result, what is causing the stall communication is mainly, red tape, bureaucratic, like paperwork, things that needed to be wrapped up in a very institutionalized type of setting. So what I mean by this is, you can like physically or even emotionally walk away from like a marriage, for example, but there's still paperwork. There's still that house that needed to be, sold on the market. There's still like that appraiser that needs to come into the picture to assess the value of the house. And you can't really let go unless you have like a price for everything so that things can be divided up equally. So there is going to be stall communication. You want the situation to be finalized as soon as possible so that you can like sever old ties and just move on with your life. But I do feel stall communication in this regard, mainly because all of these bureaucratic steps needed to be finish in a certain in a timely manner, and at the same time it's like unnecessary red tapes that needed to be navigated in order to finalize everything. Okay. And for a lot of you, it is mainly just legal paperwork regarding the marriage situation, the, you know, getting the divorce papers. And for others, it might be like the physical dwelling, like the house situation. And as a result, I do sense that things are going to end well. And I do feel in a period of like a month, even as early as, you know, the beginning of September or so, it's actually a very good time for you to get this squared away. And I do feel a resolution, like a final closure, is going to come into this situation by the end of September, which is good because the September period until early October, until like mid-October is going to be Mercury in retrograde. So if you are doing this now, I do feel it is going to be favorable for you. On a side note, this is another message coming through for those of you who are starting new relationships. Okay, especially like rekindling things with somebody from your past. I do feel there is an opportunity here to have a very, very stable relationship in the future. Okay. You are a water sign. So for those of you who might be dealing with like a fire sign or just somebody who's very spirited, who's very different from you culturally, ethnically, linguistically, there is a sense of complementarity. So it's two separate entities, very, very different entities coming together. So there are going to be further down the line for those of you who are dating and you're looking at this person and trying to gauge their, you know, prospects as a new marriage partner. I do feel with the Hierophant in the reverse position, there might be cultural differences, such as, you know, religious upbringing, child rearing practices, or something like that, which need to be discussed, or which needed to be discussed, or even like it needs to be compromised on because one side is not relenting. Okay, and I do feel that this is a card of tradition, it's a card of institutions. So, for example, a lot of you might also, I do feel like a swift wedding is coming into the card. So, a lot of you might elope instead of, you know, having a traditional type of marriage, or a lot of you might not get the consent of the family, but you feel very strongly with, you know, you're very like much in love, indicated by the Ace of Cups here. So you feel that you feel overwhelmed by the love, so you feel like you need a way to express this. So it might come out as a civil union rather than having a traditional marriage in which you're blessed by, you know, both households. There's nothing wrong with that. I do feel like, you know, do whatever fits, do whatever you feel is appropriate. Okay. And marriage, honestly, it is between two people. Incorporating your family into it is always great, but if there are disagreements between family members and things like that, it is best to do whatever you feel is appropriate to your situation. But again, don't rush into it. I don't feel a lot of you are going to rush into it. Let me just see here. Yeah, I don't feel this is something that is happening out of the blue. This is a rekindling or a revival of a relationship, and you feel quite good about it. You understand one another innately. There's a very strong, almost like a psychic link between the two of you, in which, you know, you can like telepathically understand one another on a very deep, profound level. So I don't feel there's any dangers associated with it. It's just a lot of compromises need to be had, mainly because you're from different upbringing, like culturally and things like that. All right. So it is looking to be a very, very romantic, a very good week. And I know a lot of you were wondering, you know, what happened to the Ace of Cups and things like that. Well, things for Pisces are definitely picking up. And it's actually interesting here because Pisces is the opposite sign in the zodiac from Virgo. Jupiter has just entered Virgo, so on the 11th, and things are going to like pick up for Virgo signs, which is in opposition from you. But I do feel that the energy here is very stable. It's very stable for long-term committed relationships as well. So for those of you who are thinking about that, just I do feel you're coming through with a lot more information. At least you feel very loved and you feel the relationship itself is very balanced. You also understand as well that You also understand that you're starting to see one another clearly, okay? Another situation in which this can happen here is I would strongly advise you as well. For those of you who might be, you know who you are. If you're in a relationship where you are getting to know somebody, this is like a new person and they have been very, very flaky. Okay, so if you know somebody who's new and they've been very, very flaky with you in the past, just be honest with yourself and also, have an honest assessment of the where that relationship is really headed.